United.
Now to the great stuff, to the elite stuff. We don't have just one. We don't have two. We have 3 college football Hall of Famers from one of the greatest college football games that was ever played. Yes. Now we can bring in our friend Matt Leinart, host of Throwbacks, national champion, Heisman winner, good looking, hair's always on point. Good to have you back, Matty.
Good to see you, boys.
I love you, brother. Can't wait to give you a hug in real person. All right, but now, how about this? The host of The Stampede. How good of a name is that? A podcast on the Texas Longhorns. It is all about Hook'em Horns. National championship winning head coach Mack Brown joins us. 2006 Rose Bowl MVP Davey O'Brien, Manning, Maxwell Award-winning quarterback Vince Young is here as well. Boys, welcome to the show. Welcome to the podcast world. Coach Brown, what has happened? What happened to you and Coach Meyer? Did you guys collude to do some kind of coaching podcast, take over the business?
Well, we're so excited to be on, and Vince and I can't wait to get started here next week. And this is fun. This is I watch your show all the time. I love Urban. I admire him. I respect him. Here's a guy that won at Bowling Green, which has been hard to do. He won at Utah. Then he won a national championship at Florida and won a national championship at Ohio State. So he's done it everywhere, and he's done it within the rules, and he's done it right. And I just look up to him so much, and he's just a dear friend. Then had to play against Matt when he was a Heisman Trophy winner, and then had to play against Mark when he was a Heisman Trophy winner. And when I had Vince, I was okay with Matt. But when I didn't have Vince and Colt got hurt, I didn't do so well against Mark. So here we are.
Oh, my God. Mack Brown, you're the best, man. I need more Mack Brown in my life. I think we all need more Mack Brown in our life. All right, so let's talk about the game real quick. We'll all kind of chime in here. I'm fascinated by the different viewpoints. We got a USC viewpoint. We got a Texas Longhorn viewpoint. We're almost at that 20-year anniversary of the game of the century, 06 Rose Bowl, national championship game, Texas USC. We'll go to you, Coach, Vince, and then Matty. So we'll get our Texas Phil and then USC. Coach, did you have any sense before this game that this was going to be something that people are going to be talking about for decades and really for generations?
Well, I did. They were the they were the team of the century.
Right.
They'd won 36 games, I think. They'd won 2 national championships and just dominated everybody. So it was fun to watch them, and what a great challenge. Coaches love challenges. You don't like those games where it's boring and nobody cares, and if you win it, it's unimportant, and if you lose it, you get fired. Those are the tough games for coaches. But when you can look up to a USC with 2 Heisman Trophy winners, it's really cool. And I knew we were good, so we weren't scared. I knew we had a chance to be really, really good. I thought it would be the game that it was.
Hey, Mac, I got something for you. So I just was looking at, we faced Troy Smith, Heisman Trophy winner at Ohio State when I was at Florida in the national championship game. Then Sam Bradford, Heisman Trophy winner in 08, one of the great teams in college football history. When I first saw the matchup, the first 3 weeks, I was like, we are going to get our butts kicked in, man. I mean, we are going to get destroyed. And then as it got closer to the game, you started seeing a couple nuances that maybe we have a chance. At what point? You're playing a team that, like you said, 34-game win streak, Matt Leinart, one of the best to ever do it, Reggie Bush, one of the best to ever do it. At what point did you think, damn, we got a shot at this thing? Right away or as it got closer?
Coach, we were in New York, and I was with Vince, and Vince is one of the best players to ever play college football, like these 2 other guys that are sitting here. And it's a special group. And when you're sitting there at the Heisman, right after Reggie won, Vince called our team, who was sitting in the team room, and said, "Game on, man. Game on." And I knew at that moment we had a chance. And then we had a defensive end that made a stupid statement. He said, "They're no good. We're going to kill them." And Vince and I were in New York. We weren't at the press conference, which was a mistake. So then we get home, and I said, "Hey, they've won 36 games. They've beaten everybody. They're maybe the best team ever. Let's don't look like fools and say they're not any good." So let's be like the story of Troy. Let's keep our mouth shut. Let's come in on the boat. let's either brag on USC or say nothing, and then let's win the game. We can talk afterwards if that's what you want to do. But these guys are really good. And then, Urban, we practiced so well. It was every day at practice was like the game, man. They were so excited and so pumped. And I did feel like for Matt's bunch, they were playing back at home. They'd been there. It wasn't as exciting for them as it was us. We had just beaten Michigan there, and Vince had made the statement on the podium, "We'll be back." and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Coach, national championship next year. We're going to be back." And we started playing against USC stats after we beat Oklahoma. So, I mean, it was really important to this team. This team was standing in front of the TV watching Matt and Reggie beat Notre Dame right in the end with a push. And we sat there and they all cheered. And I said, "What are you doing? We just won a game." And they said, "Man, we want to play USC." So I thought we had the emotional edge because USC was there and we were the ones trying to get there. We had not won a national championship in 35 years, and this was really, really important. And I could see it in the guys' eyes.
Vince, is that the way you saw it too?
No, that's a coach's perspective. I was my main thing was like, we about to play the best. So what do I need to do as a leader standpoint to, keep us humble, to understand the magnitude of that game? Like Coach just said, first of all, thanks Rob and Coach Myers and Mr. Ingram. I haven't seen you in a while, man. So proud of you, big guy.
I appreciate you, big dog. It means a lot.
No doubt. Matt Leinart, you already know, baby. Quarterbacks, baby.
My brother.
My guy. The magnitude of the game was so big. I just want to make sure that the guys stayed humble. Because, like Coach Brown know this, when we won the Michigan game, guys came in big-headed after we beat Michigan and forgot about all the rules that Coach Brown had. So I was just praying and hoping that that they wasn't doing the same thing they was doing before the season start, got that little smelling themselves a little bit and forgot about who we was playing. And you got a coach, Coach Carroll, you got Matt Leinart, you got the who's, you got Snoop Dogg, Will Ferrell, you got the whole entire LA behind these boys. So I need us to stay humble and understand the magnitude of the game, so we don't go out there and drop an head and get our butt whooped in front of the entire world. So that was my main thing when I was pissed off because I lost the Heisman for one, and then I wanted these guys not to don't understand what we finna get ourselves into. We finna go play a really good football team, so we need to stay humble. Like Coach said, our preparation and practice, we was zoned in.
Man, what was that sideline like before that game, bro? At the Rose Bowl, I hear you saying like Will Ferrell, Snoop Dogg, like Matt, VY. What was that sideline like? I know y'all probably wasn't even paying attention to it, but I know y'all had to like look over there and been like, "Yo, this is like super dumb legendary." Like, what was it like, bro?
What was even better was, and I'll give my perspective in a minute, but I after the game, this is just a funny story. A couple nights later, my career's over. Tough loss. All the boys went out in LA, and it was the night I met Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan called me. It's the craziest story. Called me to, and this is the magnitude of the game. Called me to his table, and I took a shot with Michael Jordan and Charles Oakley.
Wow.
And me and my brother and a bunch of my teammates were there. We were upset, but we're like, man, let's, this is like, we got a week, and then we get ready for the NFL draft. And he goes, man, I was there at that game the other night. It was such a great game. And it turns out like he was in the box with like Magic, Charles Barkley, Jordan, and they had hundreds of thousands of dollars on the game. I think I think they put money on us and we lost the money. But that just spoke. And then obviously McConaughey is a diehard Longhorn, and like it just spoke to the magnitude of that was the game of the century. It was the lead up. It was the build up. Both teams wanted to play each other, like VY said. But yeah, that sideline was. It was. I mean, we were all locked in, man. We were locked in, like we're getting ready to go. It was a battle for sure.
Yeah.
I was
Rob,
just excited to meet Mickey Mouse. I was.
I want to know what Mack Brown and Snoop Dogg went out afterwards and hung out a little bit.
We did. We had a little rap. We danced around L.A. and knocked around. I will say a couple of things. I was standing and talking to Pete before the game and looking at their team and said, Greg Davis came up after Pete walked off, and I said, that's the best looking team I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. And Greg Davis, our offensive coordinator, said, well, turn around. Yours looks pretty damn good too. And he was right. And I think there were like 98 players on that field that ended up playing in the NFL.
Wow.
It was just
98?
It was a phenomenal, yeah. It was just a phenomenal group of athletes.
Crazy.
But after the game, I didn't see Matt and I didn't see Reggie, who we had great respect for on the field. I'm getting ready to address our team, and Urban knows. What do you say? I mean, you win a national championship, especially at Texas. You hadn't won one in 35 years. And somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, there's two guys that want to see you at the door. And I walked back, and Matt and Reggie had come to the door of the dressing room to say, I'm sorry we missed you on the field. You've got a great team. You deserve to be a champion. Congratulations. And I thought that was one of the classiest things I had ever seen in my life at a time where they were disappointed and down. And not enough is talked about the class that the great athletes have with each other and the respect they have with each other after a game like that.
It's crazy. I love that story.
Well done, Maddie.
Good job, Maddie. Good job, Maddie.
Boy, Maddie.
Well,
Facts.
There's just a lot of Longhorn talk here, guys. And let me just
a lot of whoopings got him
him
like that. A lot of whoopings got him like that.
What'd you say? I think I got this. I swear, I tell everybody this is the gift that keeps on giving. Just this game, I just can't escape the Texas Longhorn. But I'll tell you what, Coach Brown is one of the best, and VY has been like a brother for the last 20 years. Just awesome. I would say from our perspective, and kind of to echo what Coach said, it was we had a 33 game win streak. The big reason why I came back to school was to go for a third, which had never been done. And I just loved being at USC. I loved what we were doing. You know, it was that simple. It was definitely, I think the only difference was like we were watching Texas week to week because we just knew how good VY the year before. We're like, man, this team is special. Like it was a collision course. And I know you guys had a couple close games throughout the year too, kind of like we did with Notre Dame. But like Coach said, it's really hard to stay on top. Like we were just so focused on like we almost lost to Fresno State. We almost lost to Notre Dame. We were getting our ass kicked by Arizona State in the first half. It was just a grind week in and week out to really just to stay number one. You know, we were chasing history. And but Pete, a lot like how Mac did it, and obviously a lot like Coach did it, all unique in their different ways. He kept us motivated. You know, he kept us disciplined and motivated. And the collision course was that I tell this story all the time. I remember, and we had Lane Kiffin and Sark were our offensive coordinators. I mean, we were loaded as a coaching staff, and they both told me, they're like, and Pete, they're like, man, we got to have to score over 40 points to beat this team. That's literally what they said. We're like, because of this guy right here and just the explosiveness that they had everywhere. You know, they had so much talent, tight end, receiver, running backs. And we going into that game, we knew they had a great defense, but we felt really good offensively. We had our guys, right? We had Reggie, Lindell, we're studs. We had a great offensive line, great receivers, but we just knew like we had to go shoot out and try and hope that Vince didn't have the ball last. And what happened? Vince had the ball last. That was it. It was like, if we can convert that fourth down on 1 yard, like it's a crazy thing when you look back. And you know, for us on the losing side, you look at always like 2 or 3 plays, you know, that just like got away. And you're like, gosh, if we could have changed this, maybe, you know, we win the game or it's a different outcome. But that's football, you know, and that's great teams battling. Mark, you've been in battles, you know, it's just great teams battling, and they deserve it. They earned it. And honestly, to make it even better, couldn't have happened to better people, you know, like getting to know Vince and Mac, and even like I you know, Michael Huff and Jamal and all these guys, like just great dudes, you know, like we all talked our smack and had fun, but like there was such a respect for them, Rob, that was probably different than when we played Oklahoma, and even it just felt different, you know, it just felt different. Like the game was just different, you know, and it was one of the greatest games ever played for sure.
Maddie, you brought up the drive, and I love this. And Vince and Coach, you guys will get used to this, like trying to segue in sponsorships into your conversation. So Matt did me a solid here. Guys, it is time to control your game. When you speed, you have less time to react. Follow the speed limit to keep other road users safe. Speeding catches up with you, paid for by NHTSA. NHTSA has been so awesome here in year one with us. Yep. So let's talk about it. Vince, the play that controlled the outcome of the game, if you will, 4th and 5 from the 9-yard line. You run it in for your 3rd rushing score of the game. You take the lead with 16 seconds left. Take us through maybe the play before, the moment you got the call, what you saw in front of you, just that and that whole setting.
Iconic play.
Well, I was definitely nervous for one. I don't think anybody in the world would tell the truth, but I will. That is one of the scariest moments ever, because Coach Brown can vouch for this. Loud sideline is one of those snappers that if you're not paying attention, they'll go past your head. So I had to make sure that I catch the damn snap first. But one of the things that me and Coach Brown and Coach Davis did, we talked about, before we left Austin, the game is on the line. What play would you call, right? Man, y'all know quarterback sneak for sure. I want the ball, coach. And coach was like, no, well, let's call a pass play that will give you the right to, throw the ball as well as run the ball. So, again, that's why coaches coach and players play. So, kudos to Mack Brown and Coach Davis for that play.
No, but what did you see right there, bro? Because I remember watching. I remember you drop back, hit the corner, hit the pylon. Over there, it's a crowd about 1 million people around you. You just flexing, looking at the stands.
Too much.
Like, man, what did you see when you dropped back, bro?
I was actually trying to get the first down with David Thomas, actually. So, because you didn't want to give, you didn't want to give Matt the ball back. Yeah, you don't want to give Matt the ball back with enough time on the clock as well, because of the fact that they saw him so many weapons. And when we did get them the ball back, when they got the ball back, they gave the ball to Reggie, and you kind of just held your breath because you thought he was gone right there. But but I was just thinking about just basically getting the first down to try to keep the clock running and keep the ball out of their hands. But Coach Carroll ran that blitz a couple of times on me in that game, and Jay Scott and Justin Blaylock did what they were supposed to do. Everybody stayed into didn't try to do no Superman plays. Everybody did what they were supposed to do. Got the blitz, picked up the blitz. Selvin Young ran his little flat route to get my guy Rucker to back up off me a little bit. And shout out to Rucker, because that's
Frosty.
One of the best pitchers in the world that he has to deal with. Yeah, for the rest of his life.
No, I'm just interested, bro. Like,
I should have got him on.
You talk about two of the best quarterbacks that ever played the game, like in college for sure. Like, Matt, you threw for 365 yards. VY, you had 450 yards of total offense. What was it like watching each other just go back and forth when you on the field, a quarterback?
It was like must-see TV. Like I remember my rookie year, and I'm sure we all did this in the league. Like I played against Brett Favre, and I was like, I'm going to watch Brett Favre. It's like, I just want to watch him play because he's my favorite player. When Vince and them were on offense, it was just one of those things that we just knew. And it took us I think it took both teams a little while. We had a little bit of a slow first half, and then the second half, we were on fire. Like that was when we started. We were scoring and scoring.
That's when we all was holding our breath, like, okay, there they go.
Yeah, we were. I think we were up 12 with like 5 minutes left. Like we got in. We just started to play, and for at least for us, Pete was always a great second half adjust. We were a great second half team always. Like we were always like third, fourth quarter. That's when we finished teams, and we felt good. And when we went up 12, I feel like that was the first time in that game where we never thought it was over by any means, but it was like, oh man, like we could feel it a little bit, right? Like 5 minutes left. We were humming on offense. It's going to need to be Superman, which obviously ended up being to win. And then they scored, and then it was the play. It was a fourth down, and everybody asked me about this play, and I'm sure Coach could probably test it. Like we run a power scheme that game like 4 or 5 times, and just gashed their defense on. We just would average like 8 yards a carry. Lendell just up the middle. Like we ran on a fourth down, he scored, and we just felt really good about getting a yard. And then we get the yard, we win. And Reggie wasn't on the field. I get everybody asked me that. Why wasn't he on the field as a decoy? It's like, he's not our power running back, obviously. And then when we got, and I just say this, when we got stopped, I just knew it was over. I was like, we aren't stopping this guy. And hopefully I was almost like, we should let them score real quick so then we get the ball back with like a minute and a half, 2 minutes left just to have a shot. I think we got the ball back with like 20 seconds left on our 20-yard line. Like we just had no shot. And I knew the minute they got the ball back on offense, after he had just led them down to score, I just knew it was over. I was like, oh man, this is like, I think the whole stadium, everyone knew was like, just held your breath and hope Vince just made a mistake, hope we got just something. And we fell short.
Matt and Vince, I got to, you're talking about doing a shot with Michael Jordan and, Will Ferrell and all that. This is what really happens. Mack Brown goes to convention after he wins we're very close. I happen to walk in the men's room right before he's getting ready to speak, and I look over. I'm taking a leak right next to Mack Brown. I go, hey. I said, holy shit, you just won the national championship. He looks at me and goes, it's your turn next, and we got it next year. So you got your Will Ferrell, Snoop Dogg stories. Me and Mac celebrating at the men's room in the convention.
Hey,
remember that, Mac?
Coach, that's a real awkward story, Coach.
Yeah.
But I do want to, Coach, while we have all of us on here, Coach Brown, I'm going to ask you, Coach Meyer, in 2004, the year that we went undefeated and smoked Oklahoma, he was undefeated at Utah with Alex Smith and those guys, but they didn't get a shot to play us. I know he doesn't believe this, but he really tries to poke me, saying they would have kicked our ass if they would have played USC. Can you guys just please tell him that Utah team had no shot of beating us in 2004? So we can just put this to bed, Coach.
Wow,
Matt, it's just like me saying if Colt hadn't got hurt, we would have killed Mark in the national championship game. When you don't have to prove it, it doesn't matter. You're
right. It doesn't matter. Coach could. He's just going to stay with that every year.
Hey, Coach. We had the game plan for Colt. When you had to throw the freshman in there, it threw us for a loop, man. He came in. He was
what a great advantage for us to have a quarterback that had never played.
We was like, we got this in the bag. Young Bull came out there spinning that thing, man. We was like, ooh.
No, we got back in it. Matt, the thing I remember is I think it was 6:49.
Yeah,
you score and go up by 12, and this is where you two guys are so good at what you do and you win national championships, because Vince came immediately down to the team and started telling the bench, man, we're good. We're good. We're going to win the game. Get your head up. Get us a stop. Just get us a stop, man. I mean, instead of pouting, instead of having heads down, we got two of our best defensive players on the field, one with a broken arm, one with a concussion.
Yeah.
I mean, things did not look good at that time. And then I remember Gene Chizik, the defensive coordinator, when it was the 4th and 1, and we hadn't stopped Lindell all night. I said, bring them all, man. Bring them all.
Bring them all.
If you can get 13, put 13 up there. But they're going to hand it to Lindell. You got to bring them all. And he said, what if they throw it? And I said, congratulate them on a great call in a national championship. But they're not going to throw it. They're going to hand it to Lindell because we haven't stopped him all night. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then Michael Huff shoots through, makes the play in the backfield. And then from that point, Vince on that sideline said, here we go. That's it. We got it. Mm-hmm. And then I told Vince, score, but score slower, because we do not want Matt and the boys to get that ball back again.
Do not want them the ball back.
No. And then and we had set up with Vince. I love Vince, and I wouldn't be on here if it wasn't for Vince right now. And we always said, what do you like? What do you like? Quarterbacks, they got some plays you like, some you don't like as much. What do you like? And Vince was quick. It's what I want, Coach. And we said, you got a great arm, but your legs are the best in the country. So look, man, if it's not there, find you a spot. And he stepped in. And the thing about you type guys that's so cool that people don't understand, Vince scores an iconic play for a lifetime. He doesn't celebrate. He doesn't spike the ball, because we need to go for 2. We've got to we're up by 1. We've got to be up by 3. So he takes the ball, he hands it to the official. Wow. He gets back in the huddle. He calls a play. We call a quarterback draw. It doesn't look good. You've got more guys than we've got. And he figures a way to get in the end zone. That's what you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
You special players at quarterback find ways to make it happen. And that's what goes unnoticed by people. Most people would have celebrated. Most people would have gotten a 15-yard penalty, and then we don't get the 2 points. And you had a good field goal kicker, and people asked me, there's 16 seconds left. They said, you weren't even excited. I said, man, we're kicking off to Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
This game wasn't near over.
Right.
And I said, that slow tight end, and you didn't even have a slow tight end, you had a fast tight end, but if we could find one to kick it to, he was going to pitch it to Reggie anyway. So that's what ended up happening. But that's what made the game so special.
Great
Coach
story.
Brown, everyone wants to know like what it takes to like coach a championship team, like what that entails, like what that looks like for a championship team. What would you say was the difference between that team and other teams that you had coached who were really extremely talented, who kind of made it and just didn't, get over the edge? What would you say is the difference between that team and some other really talented teams that you had that didn't quite make it to that, that point?
Leadership, confidence, depth. In the summer, after the off-season program in the morning, I go downstairs in the locker room, and Vince has written on the grease board, we had Ohio State the second game of the season, and they would have probably played USC if they had beaten us that day. They were that good.
Yeah.
And Vince put on the grease board, if you want to beat Ohio State, meet me at 7 o'clock on the practice field. And this was June, and they all showed up. So that's when you know the boys are serious. And then in practice, like your all's teams, we were so talented. Every day in practice was a game, man.
Yeah.
They fought each other, and they took care of each other. But they competed at the highest level. So normally the team that we would play on Saturday wasn't as good as the one that we played during practice. And then you have to keep that emotional edge. And that's the hardest thing. Don't get complacent. Don't start thinking you're good. We're getting ready to play A&M. We've just beaten Kansas 66-14, senior day. And I got a call from Bill Parcells. He's coaching the Cowboys, and I played for him at Florida State. And Bill Parcells says, you're in trouble, man. And I was like, Coach, we're undefeated. We're going to play A&M. They're 4-7. He said, yeah, that's what's wrong with you. And he actually came up with a statement that said, you're like a fat rat eating a piece of cheese, man. You're eating it, and you're feeling good about yourself. A&M's over there. They don't have a bowl game. They have no chance to get anything except beat you. It's all about you this week, man, and you're about to get beat. You better be careful. So I run downstairs. I drop pieces of cheese at every locker. I put his quote up. And then at halftime, we're down 29-24. And they are playing their butt off, man. and Coach Parcells was so right. So I walked in halftime, and I said, okay, Coach Parcells was right. We didn't eat enough cheese to die, but we damn sure ate enough to get sick. But we're going to come back and be okay. So we won the game 40-29, but that's the day that Reggie went off against Fresno State. And that's the day I think the voters voted and Vince lost the Heisman. Just because we didn't help him as much and didn't play as much that day. But that team learned from that and came back and just got better and better. How many teams are mature enough that after you beat Oklahoma, you can say, okay, we're going to compare our stats against USC stats every game for the rest of the year. So we'd put the Oklahoma State game to bed, and then we'd say, okay, here's what USC did, and here's what we did. We didn't do well enough. We turned the ball over too much. We gave up too many rushing yards. We would not have beaten USC today. That's how mature this team was, and that's why they were so fun to coach.
Player-led team.
Player-led.
Love this conversation. Coach Brown, Mac, Maddie, guys, thanks for talking about. Thanks for reliving. Thanks for bringing up some old wounds for old Mr. Matt over there, guys.
Matt is okay, man. He got 2 natties, a Heisman. Matt'll be all right.
He's all right. He's moved on.
Well,
That's part of his
I had
legacy.
wounds from Mark. Mark had wounds for me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we pass it around.
We all a family now. Let's
We
bring
all
it
got
in.
a couple.
We are.
We all got. There you go, Mark. Give us the big podcast hug over there. You can see Natty on the throwbacks. Welcome to the podcast world, Vince and the Stampede.
Yeah.
With your former coach Mack Brown.
Light it.